is what he's going to do for the next, let's say, 4 years with the Rays, the next 3-4 years, I think it would be a majority of Rays fans who would sign that piece of paper.
Yeah. And he's a guy that has to step up because there's not a ton of other guys that we have a lot of confidence in.
You are Locked On Rays, your daily Tampa Bay Rays podcast. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Welcome into Locked On Rays, your daily podcast covering everything Tampa Bay Rays, from game analysis to player interviews. We've got you covered with all the latest news and insights. My name is Kevin Weiss.
I'm Ulises Sambrano,
bringing you expert analysis and passionate discussions about our beloved Rays.
Whether you're a diehard fan who vividly remembers Longo's Game 162 just like us,
or you remember the early Devil Ray days of Wade Boggs or Carl Crawford,
we're here to break down every play, every trade, and every milestone. In fact, this is our 6th season covering the Rays daily.
And every season up till now, they've gone to the playoffs, but baseball remains. So grab your favorite Rays gear, settle in, subscribe to our Locked On Rays YouTube channel and other podcast platforms. You can also find us on the X Machine and Instagram machine at Locked On Rays.
Today's episode is brought to you by FanDuel. Now through September 22nd, all FanDuel customers can bet $5 and get a 3-week free trial of NFL Sunday Ticket from YouTube and YouTube TV. Visit FanDuel.com to get started.
Well, Ulises, the Rays have baseball on Tuesday, 3-game set against the Boston Red Sox, who are 500, 75-75. Right now, it's their last homestand of 6 games, and the series doesn't quite have the punch or intrigue as previous iterations, and even going back a couple years. But I guess the Red Sox are still somewhat in wild card contention, so the Rays can play spoiler. They have that going for them, I suppose.
Yeah, I think that's basically in like bargaining rights on, hey, we finish higher than you in the standings, because like you said, they're 75-75, but that only means that they are 2 games away to catching them. The Rays are to the Red Sox. So with 6 games left, you could do some damage where if you win both series, okay, then you did something. Hey, you get to sweep one. Hey, now you're talking.
Let's not get crazy here. Let's not. How many sweeps have the Rays had this season?
Dude, I know they've gotten swept 6 times.
Okay. For what it's worth, I read a stat where the Rays haven't had a 5-game winning streak this year. So
that is correct. Yeah. It just, the offense was never good enough for 5 days straight. Isn't that?
That's pretty much the MO for this year's squad. And if they continue on the trajectory they're on, we're talking like historic lows in all of baseball history in runners in scoring position. Not just, for 2024, worst in the league, worse than the White Sox, but something that hasn't been seen since the 1900s, more or less.
Yeah, we're talking like the William H. Taft, presidential term. It's like black and white wasn't even a thing. Photographs were with smoke and fire. That's how far we have to go back for these records, man. It's ridiculous. It's
so funny.
Yeah, it's just been so frustrating to watch this offense. Like, and I get it. As Rays fans, we are lucky to have an organization that in this very tough division keeps fighting it since 2008, day in, day out. But if you just take that aside for a second and just the performances that we have seen this year offensively have just been
the amount of games that they've scored 3 runs or fewer is momentous. In the games that they win or score 4 runs or more, they usually win those games. They have a really good percentage in that, but like we always say, you score 0, 1, 2, or 3. It is extremely difficult to win ball games like that. like, at least if you're a Red Sox fan, probably not going to make the playoffs, but at least they bring an entertaining style of offense to the table. 8th in homers, 4th in OPS. They have guys up and down the lineup who can hit and do damage and not waste at bats or do nothing with an at bat. So at least there's like a little bit of hope or some, I don't know, barn burners to keep it interesting for 9 innings, even though they might not win every single one of those games. Obviously,
who is our Wong? Who is our Duran? Who is our Devers? Who is our Yoshida?
Nobody. Not many.
We have none of those guys. And
we have basically one and a half, 2 of those guys in Yandy and Brandon Lowe. Nobody else. The Red Sox are stocked in the places that the Rays aren't stocked. Catcher, they have a guy or multiple guys that can hit. They got power threats. They got guys that can hit for average and get on base, and we just don't have enough of those, unfortunately.
Can I say something?
Sure.
We mentioned Yandy Diaz. We mentioned Brandon Lowe, and I know that some people on YouTube or while listening to this on whatever audio platform that they're on, they yelled at the screen or in their head, "What about Josh Lowe, man? Hey, Josh Lowe is a budding star." And to that, I'll tell you, we don't know.
Not yet.
Because you can't have an amazing season like 2023, then be injured in 2024 and put numbers, and then I can like assure you that you're a bona fide superstar in the making. Like I can't. Can somebody actually put their hand on the fire for Josh Lowe? I want to. I want to get burned, baby. Hey, bring that fire to me. But I don't think I can right now. I one really good season and one meh season, and then the season you were brought up was even worse than meh. I mean, you were letting fly balls hit you in the face.
Yeah, and he got sent down and then called back up. Yes.
So like, I don't think if you were a true Rays fan and you're invested in this, I think it would be silly to say, yeah, I'll put my hand on the fire for Josh Lowe.
Yeah, we have to see more. There's not what I want to see from a guy, and I know he's still young in his big league career, youngish. I need multiple consecutive years of sustained success, just like Randy Arozarena, to the point where we know he's going to get 2020, which he just recently did with Seattle. So, heck, I'll even take, at this point, I will basically take the median of Josh Lowe's 2023 and 2024 season, multiply the numbers, divide them by 2, or add the numbers up, divide them by 2, and that's Josh Lowe for the rest of his time with the Rays. I'll take that. I
would sign that paper right now, Kev. And I would like to know how many Rays fans would do that. Like if we were to average out Josh Lowe's 2023 numbers in 2024, and that average of those 2 years is what he's going to do for the next, let's say, 4 years with the Rays, the next 3-4 years, I think it would be a majority of Rays fans who would sign that piece of paper.
Yeah. And he's a guy that has to step up because there's not a ton of other guys that we have a lot of confidence in.
If he's not proven, then nobody else is proven. Besides, again, Yandy Diaz and Brandon Lowe. You take those 2 guys out, and if we're saying that Josh Lowe isn't proven, then nobody else is proven.
Right.
Nobody.
Yeah. And I think it's just going to be a case of he's got to get completely healthy, have an off season of work, make sure there's no side effects or ongoing issues with that oblique injury. I just think he never really found himself since that happened, which, is understandable in the position he's in.
I mean, for the oblique, we've talked to Matt Joyce and a friend of the pod. He told me like 150 to 200 swings a day, bro.
Yeah.
That's going to, how is that not going to impact your obliques? Like, and you're coming off one, like it's very, very tough. So obviously Josh Lowe's lower production this year pun not intended. It definitely is injury affected.
Question for you before we move on. Just salivating at what the Red Sox have at their disposal offensively.
Sure.
If you could take one of these guys next season, who would you take? Wong, the catcher, or Jarren Duran, the center fielder, the all-around center fielder?
I mean, if it wasn't for Judge, Soto, and a little bit of that PR mishap that Duran had earlier this season, he's an MVP guy. He's an MVP guy.
Fair. Yeah.
He's an MVP guy. It would be very difficult to say no to that. Of course, as a Rays fan, we've talked about this endlessly. Catching prowess offensively has never really been a thing for this franchise. So a guy who could hit would be crazy. And that's what we are hoping that one of the young guys could do. And we should liven up this episode with reasons to keep watching, Kev, because what we're talking about is like, is anybody else watching this, you know?
Right. No, that's fair. We have more to discuss, but first we have to tell the audience something very important.
Got to tell you that PrizePicks is America's #1 daily fantasy sports app with over 5 million active users. All you have to do is pick more or less on 2 to 6 player stat projections and watch the winnings roll in. PrizePicks puts their members first. So what does that mean? It means that all withdrawals are fast, safe, and secure. When your picks hit, you can get your money in as quick as 15 minutes. And PrizePicks invented Flex Play, which means that you can still cash out if your lineup isn't perfect. You can double your money even if one of your picks doesn't hit. So today, download the PrizePicks app, use code LOCKEDONMLB, and get $50 instantly when you play $5. That's code LOCKEDONMLB on PrizePicks to get $50 instantly when you play $5. That means you play Lincoln and you get Grant. That's a great trade-off. So you don't even need to win to receive the $50 bonus. It's guaranteed. PrizePicks, run your game.
We also want to tell you this. Make the switch to Locked On Sports Today. Locked On Sports Today brings you can't-miss analysis, opinions, and news streaming 24/7 on the YouTubes or the free Amazon Fire TV channels app. It is part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. Ulises, I'm going to do a little switcheroo here because I like your list and want to go with that first. And we put it out on the social media machine as well. Even though the Rays are all but out of playoff contention, they basically, according to Fangraphs, have a 0.1% chance of making the playoffs. So even if they finish 12-0 down the stretch, they still need a lot of help outside to get in the dance. So let's not make any crazy bets on PrizePicks or FanDuel in that regard. But reasons to keep watching. Season's winding down for the Rays. What do you have on the docket on your mind of, okay, I'll still watch a game or two here, an inning or two here. Here's why I'm tuning in to BA and Dwayne or the radio broadcast, so on and so forth.
I think #1 would be just our pride of being a 500 or better club.
Correct.
We've talked about 12 games left. You have to go 9-3. That's not possible. Tough. It's so tough. They've not done that. They haven't been a 9-3 team for 49 games, and we're expecting them to do it at their last 12. Like, come on.
They'll give you a 5-4, a 4-5.
Oh, they know how to give you that 6-6, baby. They know how to do that real good.
They can do it with the best of them. I mean, it is almost amazing how they've been 500 from beginning of season to end of the season. In fact, there's a chance that they go 500 at the All-Star break and finish 500 after the All-Star break.
Oh my gosh, that would be crazy. They took that serious when Klosky said they just have to be 500 after the end of April. They took that and took it to the bank. So
yes, they did.
That's number one. But again, like I just said, probably not happening. The rest of my list of why I would keep watching Rays baseball in 2024 for the next 12 games are milestones for individual players. So, for example, Yandy Diaz, I want to see him chase 290. 300 is out of the question, but 290 is from people our age that have watched baseball in the 90s. 290 means a lot, and in
this era, 290 is like 315, 320.
Yeah, 290.
We almost need a new measurement for that. There aren't many 300 hitters.
It's skewed. It's certainly skewed. So 290 is amazing, and Yandy Diaz has a 283 batting average. His OPS is currently at 757. So my goal is to see him at 780.
Okay.
So about 20. So he's 23 points away on the OPS. He's 7 points away from his average. I feel like those two things are really exciting to watch because they could happen and they could also not happen. Like it's a toss up for that. So I think that's really cool.
Yeah, and him maybe getting to 145 games played, or at least 140 games played. He should get to that. That's something he's never done in his career. Exactly. I mean, the last 4 years, so he's got 136 this year, 137, 137, 134. So cross that 140, 145 benchmark, we're in business.
Exactly. And I think added onto these individual milestones is the fact that this man had a horrible April and like a pretty bad beginning of May. Then he started to lit it up during that second month. But his beginning of the season was god-awful. Like, was god-awful. And to now be talking that he could finish the season with a 290 average and a 780 OPS, that's an amazing turnaround.
Yeah, so, I think we forget how much he and Randy struggled at the onset of the season.
Yeah, and it set the team, unfortunately, for a path to not success. So Junior Caminero, raising, obviously, just him. No, but really, for his individual career, his career OPS is 689. Let's get that puppy over 700.
Okay.
So for him, he would have to. So right now he's hitting 704 in the season. Hey, keep it over 700, man. And so next year, you start off with a nice career OPS over 700, and never again will that career OPS go down that. That's the rule. This is the lowest it'll ever be. As soon as he raises it every day, that is as high, that is as lowest as his career OPS will be.
Do you think he's ready? And this might have to be a whole topic or episode at some point.
Write it down, baby. Write it down.
Topic. Is he ready to be the quote unquote savior? Is he ready to take the mantle of franchise face, middle of the order bopper? Okay, 2025, you had your taste of August, September, spring training, so to speak. We need you to take 2-3 steps up in your play.
I think in his youthfulness, he feels like he's already been there since spring training. I don't know about, he only knows, and the people around him know about his maturity level, right? He's a young guy. And if we all go back to when we were 21, 22, maybe the decisions were not the ones that we would take today. So and he's a human being. So like that's part of the formula here. I think he has no choice but to be the savior because, and this is going to be a little gloom and doom, but who the heck are the Rays bringing in that would be the face of the franchise that's not him? I mean, if it costs $150 million, you're not bringing that in. They're not bringing that in. So he is the de facto guy. Love what he's doing in the dugout. Love how he's cheering on his teammates. Love how he's being a top step guy, taking the helmets off, being very Willie Adames. Like, that's awesome. Love that. Good for him. That's showing leadership. That's showing maturity.
Right.
So I think he has no choice because unless, of course, Brandon Lowe is retained, Yandy Diaz is retained for the 2025 season, which we both think that his their options are going to be picked up. either to be traded or to be kept. Unless that happens and they're also in the lineup, he's the guy. And even if they're in the lineup, Kev, I guarantee you that in 2025, if you go look around the Trop, there will be more Caminero jerseys than Brandon Lowe jerseys.
No, that's fair. And look, we're seeing a lot of flashes of late from him, getting 3 doubles in a game.
Yeah.
Hit a triple not too long ago, 3-run homers. He's breaking up no hitters, hitting the ball, of course, as hard as anybody in the league. So he's got that going for him right now.
Yeah.
So that basically it for, some of the big reasons to keep watching on your.
I have one more, but I think you have to tell me something before that.
I do. And that is FanDuel. You've heard us talk a lot about FanDuel. It is America's #1 sports book. Well, we have something a little different for you. Now through September 22nd, all FanDuel customers can bet $5 and get a 3-week free trial of NFL Sunday Ticket from YouTube and YouTube TV. Then, with a YouTube TV base plan, you'll be able to watch every single regular season Sunday afternoon out-of-market game. All you need is a Google account and a current form of payment, and you can cancel anytime. So just visit FanDuel.com to download America's #1 sportsbook. So good, I'll repeat it again. Download America's #1 sportsbook. That is FanDuel.com. We also want to tell you this. You can catch every pitch of the Rays hometown broadcast with SiriusXM. Just download the SXM app and search Rays. Also bookmark si.com/MLB/Rays for written content about your Tampa Bay Rays.
We talked about him. Brandon Lowe.
Mm-hmm.
He's at 18 home runs.
Okay.
Leading the team. Can you make it to 20 bombs? Can you make it to 20? Give me 20.
We got to have at least one guy get in 20. Otherwise, that's a travesty.
That's sad.
Not 1910 anymore.
Yeah, exactly. Although apparently it is.
I guess so, yeah. In some ways, yes.
Yeah. Teddy Roosevelt is the president sometimes when we talk about these offensive records.
Mm-hmm.
Bro, just give me 2 bombs. 12 games. Just give me 2 bombs. And by the way, he murders the ball at Fenway Park.
Yeah.
Murders it. Kills it. They can't stand him in Beantown.
Mm-hmm.
Get a couple there.
Yeah.
But before maybe one in the
Get 1 or 2 around the pesky pole.
Yeah.
If you really want to do it, just bat him lead off. Get him as many opportunities as possible and have Caminero and Yandy protect him, I guess.
Maybe there you go. I like that.
Maybe that's the solution there.
Yeah.
All right. I'm with you on the race to 500. Of course, not as exciting as making the playoffs, but looking to extend that plus 500 streak to 7 and not finish dead last in the AL East. One thing I will say, I guess I'm somewhat, I don't want to say conflicted because I want to see the Rays get to 500 and or above 500. But my other way of looking at it is if they quote unquote tank the rest of the season, they'll have a higher draft pick and higher draft order in 2025. But I guess the other point of that is how much are you really moving up? It's not like you're moving from, 14th to 1st. I mean, they'd probably be just inching it up a spot or 2 or 3. And the draft is so much of a crapshoot anyway, and we won't know these guys until 2030, 2031, something like that. So,
yep, you took it all out of it. I was going to be devil's advocate. Like, how much are you really improving your draft by going 3, 5, 6 slots better?
Yeah. And the other thing is the Rays have to pay those guys more money too, the higher they draft.
There you go. You have to pay more. And also, and this is not only a Rays shade, but it's also a baseball shade. We have proven time and time again that if you look at top 10 draft picks, they're not all Hall of Famers.
That is true.
Sometimes they barely even make it to the league.
Tim Beckham.
It's not a for sure thing, man. It's not.
Yeah, in fact, you could make the argument that the Rays have probably done better in the middle-ish rounds than their first-round draft picks. Like Dodge Bradley, for example, Kevin Kiermaier, for example, James Shields, for example. Shane McClanahan was all but a second-round draft pick or a comp pick.
For Alex Cobb signing with the Orioles. If you look at their big, first-round picks, I remember
it's bad.
It's
bad. Yeah, the history is bad.
I mean, Casey Gillespie, I think, Josh Saley, obviously Tim Beckham,
some guys that didn't even sign, Levon Washington.
Yeah, Nick Schufo. The other guy that was like, he was a third baseman.
You don't know his name off the top of your head is not
Richie something. He wrote
Richie Schaefer, yeah.
Richie Schaefer, thank you. Yeah, like I'm sorry, I don't buy into the like. I hope they tank so we get a little better draft pick. Like, nah, fam.
It's not the NBA or the NFL. It's a little bit of a different ball game in that respect, literally. The other thing too is I want to see a Rays player or the Rays lead the league in something, and not something bad like most strikeouts or historically terrible number, whatever it is. There's at least a good thing that we can root for here, and that is the Rays and Jose Caballero leading the American League, not the National League, not all of baseball, but the American League in stolen bases. So the Rays right now, while they're fourth in MLB in steals as a team behind the Nats, Reds, and Brewers, of course, those are all National League teams, they're first in the American League. They have 172 to Cleveland's 142. Caballero, likewise, is fourth in MLB behind three National League players, De La Cruz, Ohtani, which is crazy, and Turang, but he's first in the American League. He's got 41 to Jose Ramirez's 39 and Jazz Chisholm's 36. So Caballero could be the first Ray to lead the American League in stolen bases since Carl Crawford, who unsurprisingly did so 4 times from 2003 to 2007. Now, I will say Caballero, I'm going to not focus on this that much, but he is pretty up there in caught stealings as well. But I'm trying to focus on the my narrative is he has 41 stolen bases in 129 games. And what's amazing about it all is it's not like he has super elite sprint speed. He's in the 75th percentile. In fact, he's slower than he was last year. But I think the key for him is he really times up his jumps well, capitalizing on breaking balls in off speeds, and so much so that catcher doesn't even make a throw oftentimes. And then the way he contorts his body on head first slides and using his left hand to touch the outside of the bag to avoid a tag, just the little things. The old adage is you don't necessarily have to be fast to be a good base stealer, and there's guys who are fast but not good base stealers. So I think Jose is the former in that respect.
Yeah, I mean, we always talked about Kevin Kiermaier, right? And we talk now about Jose Siri, these guys with lightning speed that just, first of all, they don't get on base as much, but once they get on base, it seems like they just don't steal as much as we think that they should steal. With Caballero, though, when we talked to Mason Hour, I believe 1.5 years ago, and one of the questions we asked him was, how do you steal bags? What's your mentality when you steal bags? And he said something that stuck with me. He said, don't be afraid of getting caught. That's number one. You can't be afraid of getting caught. And so when you take that phrase and you put it on this topic with Caballero, bro, if I had to pick one guy that is has shown repeatedly that no matter who's in front of him, an AL Cy Young pitcher in Garrett Cole or a teammate that is built like a tanking Yandy Diaz, Jose Caballero fears nothing.
Which is good.
He fears nada, bro. I mean, this guy has zero fear. So it makes sense that he would be leading in this category for the Rays. And it also would make sense that he would be getting caught a lot because he has no fear whatsoever.
Takes money to make money, I guess.
That's right, baby.
Kind of the jig with that. But rooting for him and the Rays to accomplish that marker. I guess wish we could steal home a little bit more often.
Just to get some more
across the plate. That'd be nice. Or I don't know, more bunting, something. Got to try something to get more runs across the board. Getting to some listener comments real briefly on their reasoning for why they keep watching this ball club. Raise the Roof says, for the anticipation of the offseason, should be interesting. Ethan Broom, haven't heard from him in a while. He has a gif of one Junior Caminero. Daniel Frienden says, because the Rays are our team through the good and bad. Locked On Cardinals checks in to see who the Cardinals will trade you for next. Yes, the Rays and the Cardinals do wheel and deal quite a bit. Jorge says, I love the Rays. Rod Mira says, it's baseball and they're my team. Fan of 813 says, Junior. Stern Fan 10 says, I've watched about 3 games in the last month. Boring, frustrating, just some of the negative superlatives you can drop on this team. I don't necessarily disagree with that there. William says, I'm a fan. John says, they're the only team I've watched since their conception or inception, however you want to phrase that. When I was a kid, all the teams had been around for many years. Okay. Juan with the old betting line, over 79.5 wins midseason bet. There we go. Rays fan Nick says, love, dedication, and hope. Hope is a powerful motivator, regardless of the situation. Tampa Bay sports fan says, Caminero and Driscoll plus, who will be gone next season? Yeah, that's the other thing, is this might be the last opportunity to see X, Y, and Z in a Rays uniform. So you might want to soak it up. We didn't know that, hey, that would be Randy's last day, or that would be Paredes' last day, or that would be Eflin's last day. So you might want to keep that in mind as well.
I don't disagree with a lot of those comments. The ones I would want to like pick at a little bit is, okay, guys, we're all fans.
Yeah.
Like, give me something more. We were looking for something more than I'm a fan of the team. Like a little bit more, specificity would be nice.
Right.
But okay, we get it.
Hey, some people didn't understand the assignment. It happens. And then finally, Roger Smith says, Dwayne stats and BA and Wechter. That is one thing you can say.
Yes.
Whether the Rays are good, bad, or middling, BA and Dwayne and Doug will try to keep it lively.
Yes, they are. And they're awesome. So, yeah, that's a great reason to keep watching.
All right. There we go. Hope you all have a wonderful day. Stay safe. And we will talk to maybe Mr. Evan Klosky on tomorrow's episode. Stay tuned for that.